Okay, this is a short video of a problem that I had with a shutoff valve. This is under my sink. I was working on my kitchen faucet. I needed to turn the water off, which I was able to do without any problem. Like that. But when I went to turn the water back on again, and I turned this out, I had a problem, and that was I had a persistent drip coming from the stem. It can take a little while to convince yourself that the drip is there or that it's gone away. One reason is because in the transition from opening to closing, you might get a drop of water come out the stem. So after it's all the way out, the packing material under that packing nut is compressed, and when it's all the way out, it may not leak. When it's all the way in, it almost certainly won't leak because the shutoff valve is turned off and the valve seat is closed. When it's all the way out, the packing material is compressed against the stem and it tends not to leak. When it's being in transition from open to close, you may get a drop of water. So usually if you want to test it, when you open it, you wipe off any wetness that might exist on the stem itself. And then you see, and you have to wait sometimes. But in this case, I could tell it was just dripping. So I went to the internet. I checked all the things that I should try doing. The easiest thing to do is to try to tighten the packing nut, because that compresses that packing material and makes the leak go away. But in this case, I compressed it quite a bit, and the leak did not go away. I checked through my little box of plumbing supplies, little shoe box that my father had left me. I found in the bottom of that this little piece of packing cord. It looks like it's covered with graphite, and it's some sort of fibrous material. It's quite old, but it looked perfectly fine. It wasn't falling apart or anything. So I took off the packing nut. I tried putting in a single turn of this packing material. Then I couldn't really get the packing nut back on again because there wasn't enough room in there for the original packing material and an additional turn. So I opened it up again and I took out whatever was in there. Now, this is what was in there. It's it looks like a washer, really. I don't know if it might just be compressed packing material, but it's fairly hard, and for whatever reason it wasn't working, of course, so I took it out. And then, having taken it out, I was able to then tighten up the packing nut. I had one single turn under there. Now, with that one single turn, I couldn't get a successful operation of the valve, which is to say, for a reasonable tightness of the packing nut, I couldn't get it to stop dripping. And probably that was because one turn is not enough. One turn in conjunction with whatever packing was already in there might be enough, but since I had taken that out, I probably needed two turns. So what I did was I put another turn in. Okay, I put another turn in, and then everything seemed to work a lot better. Right now, for example, it's got two turns in there, and it's working fine. There's a little moisture that comes out as I go in the transition. Okay, but no drips. Now, the real important thing is that it not drip when it's open, because of course this shutoff valve spends 99.99999% of the time in the open position. And in the open position, now with this new packing material in there, if there were a problem, I could very easily snug this up a little bit, okay? And the idea that it would make this a little bit harder to operate would be completely irrelevant. So if I ever needed to use the valve again to shut it off and it was too hard to turn, I could just loosen the packing nut a little bit, and then I could turn it. And then once, of course, it's closed and off, and I need to do my work, there's no issue with what's happening with the packing material. Okay? So in this case, I didn't have to do that. I have material in there where it gives no drips when it's off. I do get a drop of water there. You can see, for example, if I go from the transition. Okay, but once it's on and all the way out, what you would have a problem here is if you, instead of pulling it all the way out, you just put it halfway out and you just left it there. Then you could get a drip. Now, my sense on a fix like this is that this packing material, every time it's operated, it gets packed a little bit more, and over time, it responds to the pressure and it conforms to the space that it's in, because the packing material is quite flexible and it mushes around. So now, of course, just in breaking it in, I've operated it many, many times, and it's perfectly working. But over time, it probably does pack down. That might have been what happened to this other thing. Well, this might have been a washer. I don't really know. But anyway, I'm just going to put the screw back on this, and everything's fine. So thanks. Bye.